Hey, what's up, everyone? Apologize that my hair's a mess. So I just wanted to do a quick video on the sort of town hall that Joe Biden did last night. Now, as always, I was busy, so I didn't get a chance to watch it all, but I wanted to talk specifically about China in it. However, let me start off by saying this. Despite the fact that I think that this was obviously less antagonistic than the town hall that Trump faced, and I'm not sure if we'll find out that some of the questions were pre-given to Joe Biden. I don't know. But he seemed more with it than actually I would have otherwise expected. He was, certainly there were moments that you could pick out where it seemed like he didn't know what he was talking about. But all in all, he kept himself together. I think the expectations for Biden are so low, even amongst his supporters, that this would be considered, at least cognitively, as if some sort of victory. Now, there were certainly things that he said that I think were just absolute garbage, like claiming that all of the deaths would have been prevented from COVID if it wasn't for Trump. That's absolute garbage. The big thing I want to talk about, though, is China. So I find it hilarious that a lot of my friends on the left, and again, I reiterate to you, I'm not the type of person that's like, I refuse to be friends with people on the left. I have plenty of friends on the left. I'm trying my best to show that we could have reasonable discussions with people that disagree with us. One of the things that some of the more reasonable people that I'm friends with on the left criticized Trump for was his supposed foreign policy failures and how he was making us a laughing stock of the world and his finger would be on the nuclear button and he would get us into all kinds of new wars and the Middle East would be on fire. Well, we're seeing that the exact opposite happened, that actually Trump's done much better in those regards than not only was anticipated, but than his predecessors, whether it be W. Bush or Obama. I would argue that Trump so far has done much better. Now, we'll see if these peace agreements hold out in the long term, but so far during his presidency, I think that these fears were misplaced, or rather were intentionally put there, because I believe the people running the Democratic Party and the establishment on both sides want us in these forever regime change wars. That's one of the big reasons that they went after Trump from the get-go. As Chuck Schumer told us, the intel community, you can't go after them or they'll find 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So I think a lot of the hatred from the State Department, the intel officials, etc., towards Trump were because he was at least paying lip service to, why are we in all these wars? Why are we in the Middle East? Well, that's big money to them, and that's a big way that they siphon out money from this country, and the military-industrial complex keeps its power and its wealth. So they certainly don't want that, whether it be Joe Biden, Mitt Romney, etc. They don't want that. But I think that without a doubt, it's clear to me that our biggest geopolitical adversary is China. I don't know how anyone in good faith could argue otherwise. Whether it be COVID, if you think it was made in a lab or not, it's clear that China intentionally lied to the rest of the world, which is a big reason that it spread and became as big of a problem as it is. Whether it be the siphoning out of wealth of the working class in the United States, which certainly China is a big part of, whether it be interning people of different faiths in concentration camps, whether it be sweatshops, all sorts of things that we see. China actually has the wealth, it actually has the geopolitical influence to actually be a rival of the United States. It is not a good place, and I haven't even got to probably the biggest thing China's doing, which is intellectual property theft and the fact that they're stealing data on each and every American, which 5G may be a huge part of, that will be able to influence us in ways that we cannot imagine through these corporations such as Google and elsewise that have partnered with the CCP, that will be able to then have insight into every American's life and use that to dominate us as a people. It's clear that China, far more than Russia, far more than Iran, far more than North Korea, is our biggest adversary. And one of the reasons that they've gotten so powerful is they have so many politicians, academics, Silicon Valley companies, entertainment people like the NBA in their pockets. And so not only are they our biggest adversary, but they have such great influence in people of power in the United States that it allows them to continue to be a geopolitical adversary and get a one-up in the United States in many ways because they're infiltrating our country. Of course, Biden talked about, Russia and how Russia wants Trump to win. But it's clear that Biden, through his son, Hunter Biden, who engaged in a $1.5 billion energy deal with China, have connections to China. It's clear that China was almost unimpeded during a Obama-Biden administration, and they grew substantially as an adversary of the United States. So all Biden had to do was at least pay lip service to, they're as least as big of opponent as Russia is. Yet he didn't say that. When it had the chance to talk about how China was someone who was against us, he said, no, they're more like a rival. In other words, they're not adversarial towards us. Russia is, but not China. And he made it a point to differentiate the talking points that he gave for Russia being our enemy, where he didn't say China was our enemy. He said that they were our rival. And I think that that speaks volumes about what's going on. If you're concerned about this country, if you're concerned about COVID, if you're concerned about intellectual property theft, if you're concerned about AI learning everything about your life and your privacy being eliminated, if you're concerned about Uyghur Muslims being put in concentration camps, then you should be appalled with China. If you're concerned about our economy sliding and our wealth siphoning off to China, if you're a union member who lost their job or had many friends lose their jobs because it was being outsourced to China, if you're concerned about adversaries throughout the world and foreign policy, then the number one issue you should be concerned about is the rise of China. And yet we see Biden and the establishment Republicans and the Democrats, all they seem to be concerned about is Russia, Russia, Russia. I wonder why. And then we find out all of the influence that China has, paying off politicians, paying off, remember, wasn't it Dianne Feinstein had a Chinese spy as her driver for 10 plus years? We don't really hear about that. No, we're more concerned about Russian memes on Facebook and Pokemon Go. So Joe Biden's telling you exactly what he will do as president. It'll be more of the same, selling out our country to China. It doesn't hurt Joe Biden. He'll be personally enriched. It certainly didn't hurt his son, Hunter Biden. He certainly was greatly personally enriched. The criminal that he is, as is Biden. No. Who will it hurt? Average, normal Americans. That's who will be harmed by this. They're selling out our country to our biggest adversary, and no one seems to notice. The media could care less. No. They're more concerned about Russians under every bed, and Pokemon Go ads, and Facebook memes. That's what they're more concerned about. So just take stock of that. Joe Biden, I'm sure when the internal polling tells him, oh, people are more worried about China, just like Nancy Pelosi the other day, just like he tried to do a couple weeks ago when it came to the riots, they don't really care about the riots. They don't really care about China. China is an ally to them. It's an adversary to the United States, to the people of the United States. But to our sellout politicians, and I mean in the establishment in both parties, they love China. To our tech Silicon Valley, they love China. Hollywood, heck, there have been reports. The reason that Hollywood wasn't putting people of color in a lot of their blockbusters is because China didn't want it. And China's a big market. So that's how much, Hollywood that lectures you about race and white privilege, that's how much they really care. When it comes to the almighty dollar and getting money from China, they didn't care at all. So just so you know, when Joe Biden eventually decides to start changing his tune and talking about China, he let you know last night what he really thinks of China. He won't stand up to them. He looks at them as someone who's just, they're good people to just deal with, as opposed to the monsters that they are. So, all right, thanks everyone. I really appreciate it. I'll be doing some videos soon. As always, have a good one.